let's talk about Actionsa. Now, Actionsa is part of the Moonshot Pact and the Multi-Party Alliance or Charter, which was formed by the DA, which means that if you vote for them, you're voting for the DA, and that it will be a DA-led coalition, and they will be working in conjunction with the DA because they believe in the same things that the DA does. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the fact that Actionsa is funded by Martin Michel, who is a brazen Zionist, and that means that if they are pro-Zionism, then they are pro-apartheid. Now, I know that they don't say that, but that's essentially what they mean, and we should always look at the funders of a party, because the funders of the party are going to be pulling strings, because once they pull out, then really the party is not going to have any leg to stand on. And then they speak about reducing, this is with regards to their manifesto solely, and not exactly anything else beyond this, but I will comment on a few things that they have said in interviews. Then in terms of ministers, they say that they want 20 ministers only and no deputy ministers. They speak about the Opportunity Fund, where 5% of a company's tax will be redirected towards people that are struggling and need it. And then they speak about investing in TVETs, which is technology colleges, and then a voluntary year of service for students who don't want to go to a TVET or university, where the students can essentially build up their skills. Nothing negative about this. They speak about a 790 Rand grant for those who are unemployed. They have very Christian values, for example, morning prayers. Then they speak about the energy crisis and decentralization, and private companies and other energy sources will be used in order to combat the energy crisis that we have. They speak about cracking down on illegal immigration, but then at the same time, in their manifesto, they speak about tourism and how tourism is important and vital to the economy of South Africa. So I feel like this is a bit of a double standard, because when we speak about illegal immigration, we are speaking about Africans that are coming into South Africa. But then at the same time, tourism is largely funded by Europeans and Americans coming into South Africa as what we call digital nomads, and staying in South Africa with a visa that lasts for however long, and really utilizing South African resources and causing price hikes. And it's a massive issue in South Africa because it decreases the standard of living of normal South Africans. It makes it really difficult to rent places, and essentially just gives over our properties to Europeans who can't afford it due to the strength of their currency. Then they speak about the coalition government and how that they will stand with the DA, and then they speak about everyone being employed. So Harman Mashaba has spoken about this. Harman Mashaba was previously part of the DA, and then he became a part of, and he formed his own party, which was Actionsa. Now Harman Mashaba speaks about how everyone was employed under apartheid, but then also speaks about his struggle to get a job and to educate himself as a Black person under the apartheid regime. And when he says that everyone is employed, he speaks about the Black people. But when we say employed, are we really speaking about employed or people that were being severely underpaid and overworked? Then they speak about encouraging entrepreneurship. That's something good. And then transferring unused state land to emerging farmers. Again, something positive. Then merging the Department of Education so that the primary school education and high school education, as well as tertiary education, are all succinct, and everyone and it is all synchronized in order to create something that is coherent, and students can progress from one level to the next without feeling that there's a massive gap. Then he speaks about crime, deploying special units in order to combat crime. I think this is an excellent idea. Then and decentralization per province, so that we can tackle the different issues that they have in every province. And then he speaks about having no parole for certain crimes, such as the crime of SA, and so on. And I think this is a really, really important point, and I think I would really support this, because a lot of the time perpetrators of these crimes have short sentences, and then when they're let out on parole, it is something that is really difficult for the victim of these crimes to feel safe in South Africa when the person that harmed them is on the loose. Then they unreservedly condemn xenophobia, but then also have a very xenophobic approach in their manifesto. It gives massive undertones of the fact that it is due to immigrants that South Africa is falling apart. And then they want to target the integration of immigrants, and then they speak about the family unit and how this is important. They oppose the NHI, and they speak about the coalition once again. So this is essentially Action SA Manifesto. But then also another thing that I would like to point out is that with the Action SA Manifesto, it doesn't really reflect Harman Mashaba as a person. And Harman Mashaba has also spoken about one of the things that I find quite concerning, is that he speaks about how there should be no retirement age. And he emphasizes quite a bit on privatization. But when he says that there should be no retirement age, he believes that everyone should work until the date that they kick the bucket. So not really a fan of this. I do believe that labor practices will be very much in question, as well as like people's working conditions. If someone has so much of faith in people working themselves until they're physically incapable of doing so. Not much to say about Action SA. They're also a very pro-Zionist party, and they are however, they did say when asked about whether or not it's a G-side occurring in Gaza at the moment, they claimed that it is a G-side. I don't really know how this fits into the narrative, but I'm not really a fan of this. So if you're voting for Action SA, I would really have a bad taste in my mouth about them, because they are part of the DA coalition, and a vote for the DA is a vote for apartheid, it's a vote for colonization, it's a vote for privatization, and it is a vote for massive inequality.